My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Stalking with the people of the state. They're stalking with light on the ground and hovering over 325 West G Street, obsessing over me together. It's the same demonic spirit that you see this homeless third party exhibiting, obsessing with staying around me, following me, engaging in surveillance, stalking. The demon possessed who are engaged in trying to hide their obsession by gang stalking as an entity, as a group, who share the same demonic spirit and who are obsessed. All right? being more comfortable with a homeless third party who's of the same condition. Gang stalking is showing you how all of the people of the state, where they have babies strapped to them, they're obsessively stalking and monitoring. They're stalking under a fake moon, stalking with impossible light, stalking as an entity, where they're wearing uniforms, where they're working at whatever location, and they're stalking as an entity. They share the same demonic spirit that is obsessed with me, and this is exactly what they want to do: be all up under me, stalking, and they're demons. This is the entity that's engaging in what is stalking at 3:24 in the morning. There's no airport over here. There is no terminals over here where you're hovering over 325 West G Street, and it's the same demonic spirit that is stalking and sitting around and pacing and obsessing over me while I sleep. And this is the unlawful threat. This is an entity that's sounding plane engines. 25 Airport Drive is nowhere near here. That's audible activity and engineer light. Just audible activity and engineer light. Has nothing to do with any plane flight, nothing. And this is the fake moon where the fake sun is present, rising in the morning over me. And this is the engineer light. This is P.O.C. They're stalking. And the demon possessed are obsessed with stalking me and being around me. Okay, it's the spirit of Satan, and gang stalking is demonic activity, and this is the unlawful threat that the special needs population pose when they are gang stalking an American citizen. It's currently 3:25 a.m. where the Alan D. WAPNER, the authority, the president of the airport authority, is aware of the fact that there are commercial planes stalking me, deviating far from the airport and the terminals to be hovering over to stalk me in the path with a demon on assignment, monitoring with the city. P.O.C. This is Ontario Police. This is on public information. He's on the sidewalk and I'm on the sidewalk, and this is an engineer light. This is the same city of Ontario, like they were doing at 7 p.m. under the fake sun. This is light activity of a demon of the Ontario Police gang stalking, and the third party is pacing. That's light activity. This third party has been engaged in sitting on the lawn, which is public property. He's stalking with the people of the state. This is criminal summoning. This is P.O.C. This is the Ontario Police, and that third party is monitoring with the Ontario Police Department. This is a demon, and this is the entity under the fake moon, where the Ontario International Airport's gang stalking and the Ontario Police by helicopter every night are stalking at the TABOR Professional Building. And that third party is a means of criminal summoning, stalking the entire time. They are going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. This is the Ontario Police stalking. This is all engineer light. So it's the same environment where they're stalking with engineer light. So I'm going to show you my multiple shadows where the police department are stalking. This is P.O.C. This is what they were doing at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts as well on June 11, 2025. That state actor is going to federal prison, and so is this one.
Hey, ma'am. Do you live here?
What's your name? This is the same demon from June 11, 2025. I can't make this up. He's going to federal prison. He has multiple shadows again, just like he did at the museum. He's gang stalking. This is the one that refused to give his badge number at the museum, where he had multiple shadows. And look at the engineer light that he's standing in. He's gang stalking while representing. I'm documenting your criminal conduct, and then you can go through your speech. This is the pattern of conduct. This is trespassing on public property.
Huh?
This is the sidewalk.
That is not a sidewalk.
This is a sidewalk, and so was he on the sidewalk, by the way.
And he left.
He was on the sidewalk, which is public
You're right.
property.
Is public
And
property.
he's the focal point, right?
You are not on
He's
public
the
property.
focal
You're on
point.
private property.
This is all engineer light.
leave-
This is sidewalk. This is not private
not a sidewalk.
property. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's a walkway.
This is on public property.
Negative.
And you saw me. You're the same one that didn't see me at the museum. You just happened to be driving through while I was sleeping on the bench when you didn't want to give the your badge number.
Yeah, that's.
And covering it up again, right?
I'm not covering it up.
You're covering it up again. Yeah, let's get his can. He was on video at the museum as well.
What's your name?
You know my name. That's why you're gang stalking and engineer light, creating light activity. Yeah, you do. It's not a coincidence that you're stopping me for being on public property. Where's the private property at?
Where you're at.
On the staircase?
Yes.
On the sidewalk?
Do you work here or live here?
That's the private property that's gated up. Yeah, it is.
You can't just sleep wherever you want?
On sidewalk, on the public property, yes, you can.
No, you can't. You definitely can't sleep on a sidewalk because then you're blocking the sidewalk.
It's public property. You can organize on public property. I can sit on public property. And you cannot gang stalk even on public property. Did you know that? Did you know that? While you're standing under the fake moon, you are going to federal prison. This is the second time you're going to federal prison.
Yeah.
You want to give your badge number this time?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay, that's obstruction. You're going to federal prison. Okay. And this is also impunity. This is the same department stalking by helicopter. All right, and so if I don't get off of public property, then what's going to happen? This is all audible activity.
You're going to go to jail.
Okay, and that's a threat to engage in kidnapping while he's engaged in light activity. This is a demon. And this is the one where they were making the published documentation private because they're embarrassed by the encounter where he's stalking an engineer light at the museum. June 11, 2025, look at that documentation.
Man, when was the last time you ate?
What is your point? Is this supposed to be a psychopath, a special needs person that's trying to mimic some sort of health check? You're the one that's mentally ill.
Am I?
You are. This is light activity, relevant positioning, and audible activity. This is P.O.C.
What's your name?
This is a psychopath asking questions he knows the answers to in the specific environment.
Man, what's your name?
Is there anything else? Monitoring with the people of the state. They're gang stalking just like how they're stalking with light. They're doing it with the police. Monitoring. He's going to federal prison. And the people of the state that kidnap with them, they're going to federal prison. This is what Starbucks engaged in, criminal summoning. Ocean, Elena, Patty, Brian, they're going to federal prison. And that third party was monitoring with me. That's the entity engaging in criminal summoning with them, Ontario Police. He's getting backup now. This is P.O.C. license 168, hold on, 1698792. Excuse me, 1680792. And this is the department that's engaged in gang stalking.
Did you guys ever get her name? She's refusing to leave the property.
Actually, I'm actually waiting for you to provide your name. You're public servants who are engaged in criminal monitoring, so give me your information first before you tell me to move from the sidewalk.
So, man, listen, like I said before.
Oh, Hazelwood.
Do you want to give me your name and information?
C. Hazelwood?
Yes or no?
And what's your name?
Goins.
Goins? Did you say Owens or Goins? Goins. Okay. Go ahead, finish.
Do you want to give me your name and information?
For what?
Because you're on property that you should not be on, first of all. Two, you're refusing to leave. Okay?
It's not a refusal to leave. Your refusal to give me your public information, and then I'll proceed. Give me your information, though.
Start off my shirt.
What's your badge number?
You don't need to know it.
I don't need to know your badge number?
No, you don't.
Okay. This is C. Hazelwood, though, right? Okay, that's more than we got last time. And it's currently 3:54 a.m. These are demons that are threatening to engage in kidnapping. You're going to pay attention to the light activity they're engaging. This is monitoring. This is the Ontario Police that's going to be disbanded, and they're both going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. All right.
So you're refusing to give your name?
I'm getting up. I'm leaving. Why are you touching me? I'm leaving. Why are you touching me now?
Because you took too long.
Because I took. All right, I do want to document. This is a kidnapping. Well, it wasn't a kidnapping because they didn't take me to another place. So they didn't actually take my person without my consent outside of the authority of the law while they're engaged in surveilling me to another place. So it's not kidnapping. But that was, again, an assault and battery. This is pursuant to surveillance that the Ontario Police Department are engaging in. While they're engaged in gang stalking with the people of the state, that was a federal offense. That's federal prison for Owens, and Hazelwood is his name that refused his identity upon gang stalking. It is relevant to obstruction of justice. Those are additional federal charges. This is an entity that's feigning authority under the law. And I want to be clear, they engaged in attempted kidnapping, because that's what that's going down as. That's attempted kidnapping. They acted in furtherance of kidnapping, and they had no authority, even as they exercised authority under the law fictitiously. They're claiming that mothers called them, and remember, the entity is controlling the narrative, and so mothers is very well going to be the person that will say, "Oh yeah, we called because we saw Erica Spencer on camera." I just want to be clear. I document all the time. First of all, the entity is monitoring. Okay. First of all, the entity is monitoring, they're stalking, they're gang stalking. And as I'm documenting Alan D. Wapner, this is where the entity that a bunch of hostile demons that are engaging in what is monitoring and hostile, because I'm speaking to the fact that they're gang stalking. Nobody forgot about the P.O.C. before the Ontario police, who are gang stalking as well, arrived pursuant to a threat to kidnapping. Putting their hands on my person, that's federal prison. And they're monitoring with the people of the state. Owens and, well, it's actually Owens that stated it, that mothers called them, that they're seeing me on camera, and that, and there's no cameras here, but I just want to go through the information that they gave, and it's all audible because they're monitoring, stating that while I'm on the staircase here, and they've chained up the property, that this is private property, and that this is, again, their basis for the Ontario Police Department to engage in what is, telling me to move off of private property. The third-party crackhead is ostensibly the reason why the Ontario police are stopping and shining light. They're doing that pursuant to the people of the state that are gang stalking me with them. This third party that's on public property runs off, and the entity, as I captured on video, you saw exactly what it is, and I'm documenting them because they're going to federal prison. And so the entity is essentially engaging in, well, we tell you what to do, and so you're supposed to do it and not ask any questions. First of all, even if they weren't gang stalking, that is not professional and that's not constitutional, especially when I'm documenting the P.O.C., but when you are having a discourse with law enforcement, they should be able to communicate what it is that you're violating intelligently and professionally and respectfully. The entity, as you saw on video, as I ask questions, and they don't like how I ask questions, they don't like my responses, they don't like my knowledge, they don't like my tone, and I don't care about that. I don't care. They're monitoring. First of all, they don't have authority under the law. So I'm encountering a bunch of stalkers that are wearing police uniforms. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct. And then in addition to that, they're stating that this is private property while I'm on the staircase, number one. I don't agree with that. This is the public portion of the property. And not only that, they're engaging in keeping me under surveillance. So it doesn't matter where I go. They engaged in a lawful eviction from Tracy Banks' apartment to create this circumstance so that they're engaged in what is ongoing harassment and stalking, which is exactly what I document. Everywhere that I'm sleeping, the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, the Ontario Police Department is gang stalking me. Being at the TABOR Professional Building, monitoring with the people of the state, engaging in the P.O.C., and they did that while they're engaged in criminal summoning. They're going to federal prison. So you're not even getting to the fact that whether or not this is private property at the staircase, and whether mothers called them at 3 a.m. pursuant to some absent cameras. Okay, the entity's engaging in the P.O.C., and I just want to document that. That's attempted kidnapping. You're going to federal prison for that, and they're going to federal prison for being gang stalking police officers, and they were criminally monitoring with the people of the state as you saw them crossing path in their vehicles. They're monitoring with the people of the state that are in their homes in relevant position. Okay, this is the reality of the criminal acts of the police departments that are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. That was C. Hazelwood, so I finally have his identity, and the other one is Owens. So after they commit attempted kidnapping, put me in the vehicle, do so touching my person, all manner of an unlawful threat, and a battery. Put me in the vehicle and then offer to drive me to some other place because they don't have any right under the law to take me from any other, under the laws that they exercise fictitious authority under. And moreover, as I ask you for your information, your identity, that's not a refusal. That's not a refusal for me to comply, even though they don't have authority. I'm prosecuting them and they're going to be disbanded. But that's not a refusal while I ask you your information. It's a federal charge of obstruction of justice while the entity is being prosecuted, documented for federal group stalking and monitoring. And that's just the inevitable encounter when the police are targeting. So I want to document that. This is the entity exercising fictitious authority under all circumstances. All right. And I did talk to Owens and I did talk to Hazelwood that claim, number one, that mothers called them, but then at the same time, they're releasing me from this kidnapping that they attempted to engage in. They put their handcuffs on me. They put me in the vehicle. That's attempted. That's enough. They acted in furtherance of kidnapping. That's an attempted kidnapping. So they're going to federal prison for that. But the entity is releasing me even though they're claiming claiming that mothers called them. And so I guess they were just being nice and decided to release me, even though mothers, this is the venue, that they claim called them because they saw me on camera, sleeping, being quiet, like I have been, not disrupting the or anybody. And this third party, the crackhead that was also present when the Ontario police were targeting again, like I just documented, engaged in the P.O.C. They are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and it's centered around the people of the state. So this crackhead is a basis for, oh yeah, you're here too, Erica Spencer. What are you doing here? You need to leave just like this third party is. You need to leave just like this third party that I'm focusing on. The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking with the people of the state. And moreover, this is public property. So the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct while they don't have authority under the law. The Ontario police is being disbanded, and this is again pursuant to stalking. It's not law enforcement. So you're not going to gang stalk an American citizen and then claim, oh, you're in violation of the municipal code while you're sleeping at the bench. And moreover, the circumstances of the target individual, which is myself, is based on targeting me at every place of employment as a practicing attorney and as a property manager, which I documented the Los Angeles Police Department engaging in. Proven. All right. This is the entity that's engaging in what is targeting you and then trying to engage in the ultimate gaslighting. Oh, well, you seem to have a problem with having encounters with the police. The police that are targeting and the police that are engaged in targeting me while in the workplace, which is going to create what is a pecuniary harm, if you will, an inability, interference with your liberty right to have a job. And so when you're subject to what is targeting me on the job, my job will be to prosecute you and document it. Since I can't go to work, I'm going to make sure that you suffer time in federal prison so that I can resume my professional career and be free of domestic terrorism on the job. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. It's currently 4:52 a.m. on July 15, 2025. This is documentation. The city of Ontario is gang stalking, just like you saw them doing in commercial planes. Moments later, the same city of Ontario is gang stalking through the corrupt police department. That same police department you see stalking under the fake sun all day long. It's the fake moon over me. This is where the fake sun rises over me. This is where the fake sun set, like I documented, over me. This is an engineer light where the entity is exercising fictitious authority, engaging in surveillance, which is not law enforcement. They're being disbanded. That was C. Hazelwood. He's going to federal prison. Also documented on June 11th, 2025, monitoring and then referencing the municipal code while they're stalking you while you are in that circumstance. So the two are not the same, and this is why the Ontario police is being disbanded. It is currently, again, 4:53 a.m. This is P.O.C. Attempted kidnapping pursuant to criminal summoning, which are the tactics of a gang stalking police department that are exercising fictitious authority under the law. I'm going to prosecute for that. P.O.C. All right, I want to document the entity gang stalking at the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue.
Hi, what can I get for you?
It's impossible light activity. That is dynamic and it's stationary. You're looking at them. This is the engineer light that they molest with. And this is speaking to surveillance. The entity is not talking to you, ostensibly not aware of your presence, and they're monitoring. And they're doing so while Starbucks is profiting from gang stalking. Literally the ordering of the drinks in the drive-thru, where I've also documented the fake sun over me, by the way, and this parking lot remaining stalked with engineer light, which is occurring outside. This is impossible light activity occurring and not the product of headlights, okay? This is P.O.C. They are monitoring what I'm uploading onto the Google Drive. And this is the same entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct. License plate 8YKY381. Those aren't headlights. That's P.O.C. Stalking in the path with light while they're monitoring simultaneously. Starbucks is engaged. This is a federal RICO case. All right. That's the same thing that they're doing on the inside, molesting me with impossible light while they're driving on Euclid Avenue. Headlights, sunlight, reflection off of the side of your vehicle miraculously is not occurring or going to ricochet inside under any circumstances. Neither are those headlights that you saw the shadow of these bushels moving, fanning across this building. That's engineer light. They're gang stalking through the drive-thru, and Starbucks knows that I'm here. Starbucks is monitoring. They don't have to talk to you, meaning the demons don't have to talk to you, and their knowledge of you is shown through that specific environment. This is ongoing criminal monitoring. This is third-party license plate. This is relevant to the federal RICO case 708-67R3. This is P.O.C. This is federal stalking. Starbucks is an establishment that is monitoring while they're taking the orders. They're engaged in audible activity. While they're in the building, they're in relevant position. While engineer light is occurring, the entity is engaged in surveillance, and Starbucks is engaged in surveillance as well. It's light activity. And they're now, this is the special needs population that are gang stalking you and doing it ostensibly as strangers. The malice of that pattern of conduct is speaking to their mental illness. It's entirely unintelligent, and it's also very obvious. None of that is headlights. And you have them engaging in the supernatural over and over and over again. That's also how you're recognizing a pattern of conduct. All right, this is P.O.C. This is 507 North Euclid Avenue. I don't have to prosecute them by being in the building. They're already prosecuted. And the entity is engaging in what is ongoing pacing, one demon after another, license 60804S3, impossible light activity, P.O.C. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. They engaged in kidnapping on July 4th. They're going to federal prison, specifically Ocean and Elena, Brian and Patty. And the entity is still gang stalking now. And Starbucks, the corporation, is profiting. This is relevant to the racketeering, the federal case. They're engaged in federal stalking under Title 18 with the people of the state who are stalking while they're necessarily appearing to being engaged in purchasing something at a business. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct, public corruption, 60804S3. None of that's headlights. That's scanning all the way across, showing the bushels all the way across, and the shadow of the bushels is dynamic. That's impossible light activity. That's P.O.C. The entity that's engaged in surveillance is stalking with light. The entity that is stalking with light is special needs. This is the entity that's stalking me, keeping a fake sun over my head all day long, which I also documented at Starbucks. Who knows that I'm here right now? The entity that's engaging in what is admitting to knowledge without saying a word is stalking with light. Okay, and doing it as a pattern of conduct, it's supernatural. In addition to that, the entity engages in what is gang stalking you, and the admission is the fake sun over my head. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct while they're engaging in what is an ongoing pattern of kidnapping, obstruction of justice. License 6ABR107. All right, this is P.O.C. All right, repeating the same pattern of stalking with light with third-party Starbucks. And the gang stalker Vivian that was monitoring me at Holt Boulevard, she's here gang stalking. J751F1, stalking with light while monitoring with Starbucks, the corporation, and that is completed by purchasing a drink from the gang stalking establishment. I documented Vivian gang stalking me, and it is very specific because the sun's not over her job, her place of work at 507 North Euclid Avenue, when she's gang stalking me during the 10 a.m. hour when I'm on Hope Boulevard. And the fake sun is over me while she's crossing path in her red Civic, right? And she's monitoring me now, and her stalking me is also proven evidence. It's relevant to her being diagnosed as mentally ill. License 5VOG870. And the entity is gang stalking while they are stalking with light, and that's what you'll see in the video. And that's the video that you just listened to. You can see it on the YouTube channel at This is the P.O.C. You can see it on the P.O.C. website, where the entity is being exposed for engaging in criminal monitoring. All right, license plate. Stalking with light. 9LCY964. Stalking with light. Fake moon moves as I move. The fake moon is over me here. License 98763F2. And the other employee's license that is gang stalking, 9MHV520. It is currently 5:49 a.m. on July 15, 2025. The entity that committed kidnapping with Starbucks engaged in an attempted kidnapping upon federal group stalking and monitoring. And it is the criminal conduct of the people of the state that are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring as well. And the entity that commits kidnapping engages in things like what HAZELWOOD and OWENS committed, criminal summoning, and the Ontario Police Department just summoned themselves. They're engaged in surveillance, so they summon themselves. It's referred to as criminal summoning because when you're gang stalking as a police department, they are always supposed to be operating pursuant to what is constitutionally authorized behavior. So if you live on private property and you summon the police to get someone off of your property, but for being a gang stalker, that is what the police are constitutionally authorized to do. The entity that is gang stalking is operating maliciously and in a corrupt manner, where the people of the state are not on private property. They're engaged in surveillance, first of all. They're gang stalking you together, including while you're on their property, which is not private. They're engaged in surveillance. So this is going to change the landscape because of the criminal conduct of the government and the criminal conduct of the government with the people of the state. It is in fact not private property. While you're also violating the privacy of another American citizen, it's not going to be treated as private property. And it's not private property because you are in the shoes of the government maintaining surveillance on your property, whether you pay rent, a mortgage there or not. And it's speaking to what is not designated as private property. It's a facilitating venue where the government has no authority to maintain surveillance through you. Now they are engaged in what is corruption and not telling anybody that they're engaged in surveillance. And so they're exploiting the Constitution. Oh, this is private property. Remove this person from my property. They've been monitoring you the whole time, violating your privacy, helping the government do so. The government has no warrant, probable cause, constitutional authority, no legitimate interest. And that's the malice of what is criminal summoning. And they're doing so pursuant to knowledge of who you are and what you're doing, especially when they make up information about you committing a crime that you didn't commit, suffering from mental illness that you don't suffer from. That's the entity that is targeting. And this is how the entity exploits the Constitution. When you are stalking with engineered light, you're engaged in criminal monitoring with the government. It's not a private property. And you're not going to reap the benefits or enjoy the benefits of privacy when you are acting on behalf of a public entity. This is an entity that is delusional. That's relevant to their special needs. All right, that's legal analysis right there for you. That's literally how the law is going to operate, and that's how the law is designed based on the conduct of what the government is doing, and it's unlawful. It's public corruption, though, and it is, so what I'm subject to is a government that's acting in a corrupt manner and has yet to be held accountable for that. So they are in their alternate universe, where this is how they enforce laws, this is how this corrupt system operates, and I'm going to enforce the law based on what is the truth and based on what the entity is actually doing and what it is actually empowered to do under the Constitution that actually matters and has legal significance, contrary to what the entity is engaging in right now. Okay, so I'm dealing with literally a special needs population that is accustomed to this corrupt operation of the system. And they're also delusional while they're witnessing. They know very well that if this was just a dream and if it wasn't really going to happen, nobody would get this far as I've gotten in this case, this investigation of a corrupt government. It doesn't happen like that. It doesn't work like that. And not only that, regardless of what the demons want to believe, this is the law that's going to be laid down on them, and I'm going to prosecute them for their corruption and their violation of my constitutional rights while they operate on their own system that is not constitutionally based. The entity has made up its own way of operating, and it's entirely corrupt while it is abusing the Constitution, exploiting the Constitution, and wanting to make it appear as though that's the malice. They want to appear substantially similar to how the constitutional system is operating and what it looks like. A private property owner summoning the police who are enforcing their property rights, which they have a right under the law. Yeah, except for the fact that they're engaged in surveillance together in a pattern of conduct, which is proven. And that's changing what is the status of this so-called property that is not private. It's not private with regard to the conduct that's happening on that property on behalf of a government that doesn't have a right to engage in it on that property. You're providing a basis of a violation of constitutional rights. And the way in which you're doing it, it doesn't exist under the Constitution. That it doesn't exist. Gang stalking, that does not exist as an authorized basis of surveillance. You are plain out stalking. And you're stalking where you live on behalf of that public entity. It is not private property. And moreover, any government, well, I'm in the United States of America. So in the United States of America, based on the constitutions, the state and federal, the government does not have any authority to keep you under surveillance just to keep you under surveillance like the government is doing. You don't have any constitutional authority to do that, including as a third party. This is, again, they're delusional. They're operating under an entirely corrupt system. And again, this is speaking to exploding that. I'm totally blowing that. It's a bunch of nonsense, unconstitutional nonsense, malarkey. Okay, it's trash, and that's just me keeping my language clean. All right, so the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct and doing so pursuant to what is supposed to appear on the surface because you're ignorant about federal group stalking and monitoring, but you're not. You're witnessing me document a corrupt government from the beginning to the end, how the system is supposed to operate, and how they're operating, exploiting that constitutional system. All right, so the entity that's engaging in what is stating, oh, you're on private property and we have a right to expel you from it. No, but for criminal monitoring. That's the government that's seeking to obstruct justice. That's the government that's speaking. That's the government that's engaging in all manner of conduct. And you're also going to prosecute accordingly. All right, they're agents, because they're all stalking in that same specific environment, engaging in terrorism. And it's not only corrupt, it's like, wow, the audacity of these demons, like to really engage. But this is speaking to what is a corrupt government. They just engage in bullying people, and you're just supposed to just lay over and take that. Sorry, that's not where, I'm not from that. Wherever that's from, I'm not from there. So the entity's engaging in that and doing so with a high level of malice. And you're going to prosecute businesses that are engaged in surveillance in the United States. You're going to prosecute the people, they are referred to as the people of the state legally. They're third parties. So Starbucks is no longer a private company. They're engaged in surveillance with the government. So their designated status as facilitating venues, and that's the ability for me to prove that, is the impossible. And I documented the impossible. The specific environment is over me at every single Starbucks that I've been to in different cities and counties. The specific environment, that's a federal RICO case. And that is not private property where the government's maintaining surveillance through the company. And while they sought to exercise authority that they don't have as the government, maliciously under company names, that is the people of the state, that's what the government is operating as while they're keeping you under surveillance via the people of the state, engaging in kidnapping like Starbucks did, and Starbucks engages in a pattern. There's a body of evidence of Starbucks repeatedly engaging in what is harassment. And while the entity is violating my rights, engaging in psychological torture against me, engaging in what is harassment, engaging in what is monitoring my vagina, violating my privacy, engaging in sexual violence, I'm very respectful. And I'm also very much controlled while I compose myself and document this unprecedented violence. Starbucks, however, is very violent with regard to not being exposed and being hostile to one's enforcement of their constitutional rights by documentation, because they're sex offenders that don't want to be known as such. They're sex offenders and stalkers, and they're demons that do not want to be exposed as such. And so they have committed a pattern, a documented pattern, which I'm also going to prosecute the corporation, and I'm also going to prosecute with regard to everybody that engaged in kidnapping. But even criminal summoning, that's harassment. That's civil. I'm going to prosecute civilly and criminally with regard to the documented pattern of conduct of the gang stalker and the sex offender Starbucks that is routinely engaged in obstruction of justice. And I documented it. Not only the fact that they're gang stalking, but the fact that they engage in a pattern of obstruction of justice while they are indeed engaging in what is surveillance on communication devices and online as well. The entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct and doing so with impunity, which is what I document. And that level of impunity is a threat to your life. So these are companies that are threatening your life, your well-being. They are threatening your safety. They're threatening your liberty while they're gang stalking you. And they have the audacity in America, in this capitalistic society, to profit off of surveillance, because that's exactly what they're doing. This is surveillance, and all they do is center their business around surveillance, which is going on in the United States. Okay, and whatever business it is, the bank, a doctor's office, a hospital, a law office, a library, a cafe, a coffee cafe, a restaurant, fast food restaurant, you name it. It's surveillance. And they're making money off of that. And it is embedded into society. It's happening everywhere amongst everyone. All right. And the ability to do that and recognize it is in the environment, the specific environment, and a bunch of demons that are existing in this environment in an alternate universe where they use the Constitution for their purposes, not according to how it is designed and the way it is supposed to, and the way in which the government is given consent, authorization, all right, to exercise authority over American citizens. The people of the state have consented to surveillance, but American citizens like myself don't even know about it. I have not consented, and so I'm going to prosecute the people of the state and the government acting directly. It's public corruption. All right, Starbucks monitoring me while I'm outside, and the way that you can see in the video and the way that I narrated is evidence of Starbucks, again, engaging in surveillance. And this is psychopathic behavior. Strangers that are stalking you and want to appear as though they're not even aware of your presence, that's special needs. That is a special needs population. It's entirely malicious. And also, when you take a step back with regard to what I've exposed about them, it's very highly unintelligent. Okay, and once you're aware, once I've shown you what you're looking at, it's very obvious. Anyone can now look at the environment and you know what's going on because as you're paying attention, I have trained you to recognize how criminal surveillance is occurring, and that's the goal. In addition to you watching me embarrass Satan and prosecute him, because he is using the government, he is using the people of the state who are in the shoes of the government, because this is how you legally prosecute Satan. It's not impervious to a prosecution in a court at all. It's not impervious whatsoever. So you're going to witness that, but it is for your benefit, for your good, because you need to understand what's going on now in the world and in the United States, those of you who are in the United States of America. All right, and this has been happening for a very long time. It is currently 6:01 a.m., and that is evidence that is putting the employees of Starbucks that committed kidnapping on July 4, 2025, they were gang stalking me while you saw that fake sun in perfect alignment with me, while L. Edwards is threatening my life and safety and liberty. Gang stalking via criminal summoning, and doing so pursuant to the pattern of conduct in Starbucks that is hostile. And Starbucks is on the wrong side of the law and on the wrong side of history because they have shown themselves to be hostile to American citizens. They want your money, but they don't care about you as human beings. They don't care about you and your right to privacy and your right to being treated as a human being and your right to be free from violation of your human rights and your constitutional rights. Starbucks is on the wrong side of history, and they're also going to regret that. It's currently 6:02 a.m. Those employees are going to federal prison. All right, and that literally the evidence of them gang stalking at a drive-thru while I'm outside of the building, and you're looking at the same elements of monitoring, and you're looking at the same evidence of mental illness. All right, it's 6:02 a.m. The kidnapping attempt made this morning by the same gang stalking department is evidence putting the employees of Starbucks in federal prison. Because understand, why am I focusing on Starbucks? Because first of all, they are the latest kidnapping. Tracy Banks that's moot. She's going to federal prison. But the entity is engaging, and so is Jason Isaac Fields. Okay, but the entity is, and so is everybody else that bore false witness against me. The people of the state who claim to be friends of mine, claim to know me, and they sat in a court stating anything derogatory about my character, which is all that they're going to do, because that's the purpose of this system. And it's supposed to support what is the criminal conduct of the Ontario Police Department, for example, or the system in an overall, that's trying to artificially engineer what is a record, what is mental illness, what is a criminal record, or whatever it is that they're trying to artificially engineer. And you're necessarily doing it by targeting. When you're not dealing with the criminal, so you're engaged in targeting and you're repeatedly harassing. And so through your acts of harassment, that's what you're relying on to refer to a criminal record. You're harassing and targeting them while they're not breaking the law. And you make up the information that is while you're exercising fictitious authority as you're targeting that American citizen. And it's the same with regard to artificially engineering mental illness. While the entity is targeting you, necessarily violating your rights in doing so. So they're the criminal at the outset, never legitimate. And then they're making up information about mental illness when they are the ones that are violating you, targeting you, and then defaming you. And then it is taken as substantial and truthful, having any sort of credence because of the mouths of the demons that it's coming out of, because of the demons that are used to sign off on it. The special needs population that are in the medical field, and I've documented them as well. They're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. San Bernardino County, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, gang stalkers, malicious psychopaths. The same exact special needs population, by the way. The same exact government actor. This is called malice of a corrupt government that uses the Constitution in order to further criminal activity, which is not the purpose of the Constitution. And based on the actual design and purpose of the Constitution and the laws as they exist, the entity is going to be prosecuted, and the entity is going to be subject to what is the use of laws in order to disincentivize public corruption. All right, and that's what's relevant to prosecuting companies like Starbucks. All right, it's currently 6:05 a.m., and I am at the Ontario Town Square where the entity is maintaining surveillance. And this is, again, before the fake sun rises where I'm at. The entity is always in engineer light. Okay, the entity is always surrounding with engineer light. Those are not demons in vehicles with headlights that are reaching across the street and creating dynamic shadows. Those are demons that are stalking with engineer light. Demonic activity is right in front of your face. The demon possessed are right in front of your face. It is as plain as you looking at the picture of me showing you the sun over 215 E.C. Street, the Ovid Family Community Library, at 10 in the morning, and me showing you the sun over the Ovid Family Community Library at 4 in the afternoon, where it has not gone anywhere. And then you are understanding the implications of that. What is in Florida right now then? If this sun is sitting over one building, if it's sitting over the same window above the staircase inside of the building from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it is, again, not only absurd, it is obvious and plain. That's where surveillance is underway, and you are not on private property, and it's not going to be treated as private property where the public entity is maintaining surveillance in concert with the people of the state, who rely on gang stalking law enforcement agencies, who exercise authority under the law that they do not have because they are engaging in criminal surveillance unbeknownst to the targeted individual, because the people of the state are engaged in surveillance, so they've consented, but the targeted individual hasn't. You don't have authority under the law. You're stalking. By the way, that's what that's defined as, stalking. Outside of a warrant, outside of probable cause, outside of some emergency that is not manufactured by the entity is under no circumstances ever legitimate because they're engaged in surveillance. They remain the stalker at all times. Even when you're sleeping at the museum in violation of the municipal code, you're stalking. That you don't even get to the municipal code because you are stalking. Even when you're on so-called purportedly private property, where you're stalking, that's how you know that. But nonetheless, you're claiming any sort of basis it's private property, and this is not stating that the target individual has a right to engage in criminal activity. And first of all, let me be clear: the entity is not targeting an American citizen that's a criminal. So this is not even going to be the circumstance. But the entity is engaging in what is targeting in American citizens who are remaining subject to surveillance that they did not consent to, and this is the way in which you're engaging what is then referring to law. That's not law enforcement. That's stalking. That's surveillance. That's targeting. In addition to that, the entity is engaging in what is always going to be fruit of the poisonous tree. Something analogous to that, but it's even greater because this is at a federal level and the entity is engaged in surveillance with the people of the state, but it's analogous to that doctrine if you're familiar with criminal justice, if you're familiar with criminal law, all right? The entity, the government, doesn't have a right to break the law and then use the evidence that it has derived from that violation of your rights, violation of the law, and keep that as evidence against you and enforce that. No, that's not how that works either, and that's not law enforcement. This is incompetence that I'm repeatedly encountered with, and the entity is hostile to that. And what they essentially told me today, Owens and Hazelwood, is that basically you just need to do what law enforcement officers tell you to do and don't ask any questions. And even outside of the gang stalking pattern of conduct, that is entirely unprofessional, and this is the United States of America. So, but for me holding up a gun and threatening somebody's life, you're talking about leave Starbucks. You're talking about because I didn't buy anything, and then it evolved into, oh no, we just want you to leave altogether. Okay, the more that they talk, the more that it evolves, because I'm dealing with a bunch of stalkers that are unintelligent and can't answer common sense questions as I pose them to them. All right, and they also don't want to answer questions because, let's be honest, because I'm more intelligent than them. All right, and they're in violation of the law. And so you're talking about think quick, Satan, think quick. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's your identity and what's your basis of authority? They don't want to answer these questions, but it's actually not unconstitutional, especially when you're violating my rights, and it's not unconstitutional at all for someone to ask questions about who you are and what authority you stand on, especially because the entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct. So what the entity is engaged in, you're stalking me, you're monitoring, you're targeting me, and you don't want to answer any questions about it. I'm supposed to just jump up when you say jump. This is Satan that wants to have authority in my life in one way or another. Using my mother, who does not have authority over me. You're a demon. Okay, so I'm not going to sin against Christ, and I'm not going to go with what you want to do because Satan is using you in order to exercise authority over me that Satan doesn't have. Even if you want to use the person that gave birth to me, you don't have authority, Satan. Satan wants to use the government. You don't have authority as I prosecute you under the laws, which I also know.
I know the law, and I will prosecute you under the law. This is a spirit, just so that you understand. This is a spirit, and this is a spirit that is stalking a whole population of demon-possessed folks that are stalking together. Their mental illness is put at the forefront of their prosecution. They have sacrificed themselves. They have exposed themselves. They've shown themselves to be the criminal when they sought to falsely depict my character and trying to depict me as one. They have exposed themselves as special needs, mentally ill, when they sought to falsely depict my character as being mentally ill. And I want to be clear, first of all, anybody that's maintaining an organized and published a body of evidence, such as the P.O.C. as I have, that's nobody that is mentally ill whatsoever. The entity is under all circumstances doing a song and dance, a tap dance, and it's ridiculous. All right, so the entity is engaging in what is a pattern of conduct and the evidence of what is violating your constitutional rights in a palatable manner so that somebody that didn't go to law school can understand what it is that I'm talking about. I'm not going around here for my ego's sake trying to be a smart aleck, accumulating a criminal record. No, the entity is targeting me, and the entity has been targeting me for years, and relevant context is that, oh, come to find out there's a whole secret conservatorship happening behind my back while I'm a whole licensed attorney practicing law, living on my own, being a grown independent woman since I was 18 years old and then moving on my own. Okay, so, and nobody counseled me. Nobody financed my education. Nobody told me, oh, you should go to law school, Erica. You should go to college, Erica. You should major in political science and then find out a way to pay. Nobody counseled me, including these demons, Tracy Banks. And Jason Isaac Phillips is literally a flip on the wall. He's just Tracy Banks' sex partner. She has sex with him because I was hanging out with him. Okay, and he's literally an emotionally dysfunctional child in a grown person's body having sex with his grandma. That's what he has, emotional issues having sex with her. His issues, again, the reason why I'm stating that is because literally their sexual relationship gives him no basis whatsoever in my life and in my property. It is absurd what this entity has committed, and it is necessitating that laws change in this country. When I'm exposing surveillance and I'm exposing fictitious authority, corrupt practices regarding laws where American citizens are being separated, losing the right to control their own property, and for what? While they're being targeted? Oh, that's an unconstitutional, and that legislation is too vague, and it is a violation of your constitutional rights. All right, too overbroad and vague, all manner of constitutional issues where an entity can target you and try to falsely depict you as one that's in that similar circumstance. That law is unconstitutional. All right, so anyway, this is an entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. And what I'm getting to with regard to this exploitation of the Constitution and the classifications of property of private versus public, that doesn't apply when the entity is engaging in surveillance like the state of California is. And they are, like I stated, it is a facilitating venue where the government is present. So nobody's exercising any privacy rights. And you're engaging in surveillance, you are delusional, thinking that you're engaging in criminal conduct with the government, and then you're going to enjoy the benefits of a private citizen. That's the entity that's entirely corrupt and delusional. Those are the demons that do not have any training in the legal field. And those that do have training in the legal field, they are educated idiots because they are accustomed to corruption, thinking that you're not getting away with that. That's why I'm here. It's not happening. Okay, so I encounter educated fools all the time. Okay, I've been in courtrooms around them. They were gang stalking me while I was practicing law. Educated fools, educated demons, corrupt. Look at College of Laverne, University of Law, whatever that institution is called. They're corrupt. And it's no wonder they have an issue holding on to their accredited status. They're entirely corrupt. The demons are the professors teaching the law. The demons are sitting in the seats in the classrooms, gang stalking while seeking to learn the law in order to qualify to sit for the bar. And you're already engaged in public corruption. They're already indoctrinated with regard to this corrupt system. So you're going into the legal profession. No wonder people state that lawyers are liars. And I do not find that to be synonymous. But I see why. Because you have a corrupt system from the beginning until the end. A corrupt institution that's pumping out corrupt wannabe attorneys that sit for the bar and then they engage in corrupt practices as practicing attorneys, which I experienced. They engaged in fictitious prosecutions, corrupt attorneys. They engaged in what is gang stalking, including at their law firms, corrupt attorneys. This is the corrupt judges. They're of the same breed, sitting on a bench, and you're a whole demon. You're a gang stalker. in a courtroom. This is the entity that's engaging in this. It's just unprecedented levels of hypocrisy and corruption. And so this is speaking to removing all of the levels of the violation of the Constitution and doing it ostensibly while the entity is seeking to appear as though it is abiding by the laws. And that's what's happening when you're engaged in criminal summoning and you're summoning the entity. You're gang stalking together. So like I said, the P.O.C. is proceeding. It goes before. You don't even get to the inquiry of whether Starbucks wants to remove you from the property. They're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. I'm going to prosecute these demons. They're delusional. They're going to federal prison, okay? They're engaging in the pattern of conduct, and then you're getting to that before you even get to, it's not even relevant because private property, this designation, this classification doesn't apply because surveillance is underway. And the entity is in complete disregard of the actual law while they use them to just engage in criminal conduct and targeting American citizens. Okay, now that is absurd. That's an insult to my intelligence. It really is. The entity is engaging in this in plain sight. So I did entertain Owens and Hazelwood tonight, or this morning, and talking about reasonable suspicion where you're on private property, which again, support professional building is empty. So the people of the state are not on the property. Like they're not working inside of the mother's, whatever that venue is, while I'm there. I'm there overnight. But I will state that there's no cameras there. I've been documenting. There's no cameras that are in line of vision that would be able to see me. Okay, so the entity stating tonight, which is what Owens, remember, they're monitoring my documentation. So the entity that's engaged in gang stalking is always trying to engage in what is rebutting what it is that I document. When they've already, the bigger picture is already established, I'm going to prosecute you. It's already over, but this is what the entity does nonetheless. There are no cameras within the line of vision, and that's not what I'm stating is the basis to be there. On the staircase, on the sidewalk, that is the public. That's public as well. That's my position on that. And not only that, and this is not even getting to the fact that they're engaged in surveillance, but and not only that, there's no cameras there within any line of vision. They're stating at 3 a.m. This is what Owen stated before I wasn't documenting. This is after they released me from their attempted kidnapping, and that mothers. He injects the fact that mothers. And that's the name of this venue at the Support Professional Building. Mothers called the Ontario Police. And why are they stating that? Because they're engaging in what is supposed to be the duties of police officers, police departments, and that they're only present when the American citizens summon them there, because otherwise, what are you doing here? And how do you know I don't have consent to be on this private property? You go down that line of inquiry, but they stated to me, mothers called them at 3 a.m. And that mothers is concerned about their property while it's gated up. And so mothers knew that I was on the property because they have a camera. And there's an absence of any cameras on that property. I've been documenting it day and night. The Ontario Police Department has been gang stalking me day and night at that venue, by the way, as well. And the entity is engaging in what is stating through Owens that mothers called, which would be their basis to be present. That's referred to as criminal summoning. Surveillance is underway. And that's, again, malicious, where you're engaging in surveillance on that property through the people of the state, who are then summoning you to engage in what is expelling you. And they do that pursuant to what is a means to harass and what I'm documenting to prosecute. So that's obstruction of justice. And that's the malicious pattern of conduct where the police are gang stalking and they are in reliance on the people of the state to summon. This is the kidnapping that happened on May 29, 2025. Lying about there being any violence and lying about medication, lying about mental illness, lying about being raped, stating all manner of things that I have never, none of that. When did all this happen? This is what was the audible activity that you heard the Ontario Police Department and Tracy Banks exchange on May 29, 2025. They are relying on Tracy Banks to summon them. That's criminal summoning, where the police are gang stalking, because they're not just going to show up at your house and knock on the door like, hey, do you need our services? That's not how gang stalking by the police department works. That's what they've engaged in, though. Officer Kessel and Officer Cho, who I documented just the other day at the Ontario Police Department under the fake son. He's going to federal prison for that. He's also going to federal prison for kidnapping in August of 2019. And they literally, admittedly engaged in what is stating that they just arrived pursuant to their own. Officer Kessel, when I asked him who called, oh, nobody called us. So what are you doing here? I don't know. And Tracy Banks is also, it's the same nonsense that you're witnessing on May 29th. Tracy Banks stating that the police are coming, but then doesn't want to say who called the police. She knows that I'm documenting. And duh, obviously, if you're stating that the police are coming, who else called the police? And bigger picture is that she's been gang stalking the whole time. I'm dealing with a bunch of delusional psychopaths. I'm documenting it. You're witnessing the exposure of it. This is documentation, real life evidence of exposing a corrupt government and the people of the state that are corrupt with them and all the ways in which they engage in this criminal system. The real life reactions, the real life interactions with the demon possessed who are engaging in the surveillance system. That's what you're witnessing via the podcast and everything that I'm publishing. But the reality is you were witnessing gang stalking the entire time. And then on May 29th, while they're still gang stalking, the entity engages in criminal summoning, not wanting to answer questions. If something happened, why wouldn't you tell me? I'm calling the police because you hit me in my face. That's why I'm calling the police. You know why I'm calling the police. Why are you acting crazy? All right. But that's not what Tracy Banks said. Oh, the police are coming. Oh, because of your P.O.C. You know, your videos, you know what I'm talking about. Not stating anything about me hitting her in her eye. Not stating anything about me busting her lip open. Not stating anything about me body slamming her and putting her in a chokehold. Didn't say any of that. Talking about my video documentation, which is freedom of speech. Okay? Talking about which is the documentation while they're engaged in surveillance at Woodside Senior Apartments, where it's not private property. This is how the entity, you're going to federal prison. The entity is already surrounded with evidence, and the entity is always engaging what is coming in through the gang stalking police department, and you already know that they're gang stalking. I was documenting it the whole time. Now you're looking at what was the whole point the whole time. The police are targeting, and here come the police that committed kidnapping, and you already know that they're gang stalking. I was documenting the people of the state gang stalking with them the entire time, and then they commit kidnapping, and you are definitely going to federal prison now. If you were doubting it before, you're going to federal prison where you're gang stalking by a place of employment. I work with you and you're gang stalking me. That's speaker companies. They're going to federal prison. This is what they're doing at Starbucks, what they're doing at the TABOR professional building while I'm outside in the public. The entity itself are all gang stalking me. This is what they were doing at the work. Maria Solis Alvarez is going to federal prison. Carlo Lopez is going to federal prison. Selena Robledo is going to federal prison. Juan Carlos is going to federal prison. If any of them are not natural born citizens, they're going to be deported. They were gang stalking, which is what the city of Ontario is confirming. It's an identical pattern of conduct, and I could not make it up, including the LAPD stalking by helicopter. I'm working under the fake sun all day long, replete with what is the targeting by helicopter activity. This is the significance of what I'm reminding you about in 2024. This entity engaged in what is gang stalking me at the gym when I'm going to Planet Fitness. The sunrise in alignment to me at the Planet Fitness off of Washington. Are you kidding me? The entity is rising the fake sun at the TABOR professional building, at Tracy Banks' apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments. All right, at the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is engaging in what is the pattern of conduct, and you're going to federal prison when you are engaged in criminal surveillance with the government, and then you seek to obstruct justice. And why do you do that? Because you're a corrupt company that's a gang stalker. You're a terrorist. And these terrorists in America, contrary to like terrorists in Afghanistan, the terrorists in America, they are capitalistic, materialistic demons. So they profit off of surveillance. All right. I'm also going to disincentivize that by draining your pockets. All right. And also exposing you the reputation which accurately reflects what you are as a company. You're a terrorist, a domestic terrorist. You're engaged in what is, and also, by the way, actually, they're terrorists, and while they're in their American companies in foreign countries engaging in surveillance. Starbucks is a gang stalker that's doing the same thing in other countries. So, but in America, it's a homegrown company. It's a domestic terrorist. You're a sex offender. All right, there's a law that already exists where companies, corporations are treated as persons. Well, these persons are sex offenders and they're gang stalkers, and that's exactly how they're going to be acknowledged. Civil and criminal prosecution. And those persons are going to be prosecuted. The establishment itself is gang stalking. How? Because the specific environment is stalking me as I arrive at your venue. That's how the fake sun is remaining over Starbucks for 11 hours in the day. I'm going to prosecute you. And then you committed kidnapping, you're going to prison. This is how the laws are designed to operate. Not designed to facilitate criminal conduct pursuant to this public corruption that I'm subject to, that I'm exposing. And by the way, while I'm subject to it, the demons can't even get their exercise of fictitious authority under the law right. They're not even exercising fictitious authority appropriately, which there is no appropriate way to do that. I'm being facetious. But I mean, they don't even know their area. You don't even know your job. You don't even know it. If I were to insult them and ask them to spell Constitution, is it a proper noun? Is it capitalized? Like, if I ask them these questions, of course the demons are going to be insulted. But this is actually relevant. That's audible activity and crossing path. Anyway, the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and I'm exposing incompetence, not only because of the criminal conduct, but because the average police officer, that's their job is not to engage in law enforcement. That's why you have this level of incompetence, because they're engaged in surveillance. That's why sociopaths get past the academy to get onto the force. They're not engaged in law enforcement. They don't have probable cause about solving crimes. Dateline isn't putting shows on there where they successfully completed an investigation. The Ontario Police Department is stalking in a parking garage right now at 6:26 a.m. because they're engaged in surveillance. They're stalkers. And that's why they don't know how to spell Constitution. That's why they don't know whether it's a proper noun or not. That's why they use the document itself as like they're cleaning up fecal matter. Because that's not the point of what law enforcement in the United States is designed for. And this is exposing that. And it is incompetence because you don't know the Constitution. And so you do have those like Richard Luna, he does have a 4-year degree in relevant in criminal justice, public administration, if I recollect correctly. This is somebody, in other words, that's an educated fool. All right. That is speaking to what is very calculated. Somebody that is a demon, and somebody that is also not an uneducated buffoon, but an educated, corrupt actor. That's very dangerous, okay? Because this is somebody that is not necessarily ignorant about the laws as they exist while he's been in law enforcement for years, decades, engaging in criminal surveillance. And facilitating that, making it appear like law enforcement, because that's what's going on in the United States government. Okay, so that's representing the threat to American citizens. It doesn't mean that somebody is competent because they have an education. No, their public corruption is showing incompetence. When you are an educated, corrupt government actor, you represent a threat. That's speaking to somebody that is supposedly skilled in engaging in this corrupt system of surveillance and conducting it as though it is legitimate law enforcement that is constitutionally authorized, and it's not. Okay? All right? So like I stated, the Ontario Police Department is engaged in gang stalking. This is so pathetic. That's what I'm saying. They're sitting around in a parking garage listening to me. Sitting around in a parking garage stalking, that's embarrassing. That's not law enforcement. They're stalking. Where the fake sun is rising at the Ovid Family Community Library, this is the most ridiculous, and it is embarrassing because they're shown to be stalkers. They're shown to be sex offenders, and I do put it in terms of, it's not graphic with regard to just wanting to be some sort of graphic pervert. No, you need to know that the sex offenders and what they're doing. Why should you put it in some manner that you're comfortable with, so that you're made comfortable while you're engaging in sexual violence? So you're comfortable doing it, you're just not comfortable addressing it, hearing about it. Okay, that's relevant again. The special needs status of those that are, again, very much mentally, the demented conduct, the demented mind state of those that are sex offenders. You want to monitor my vagina. You're very much concerned and obsessed with everything concerning my vagina. You just don't want it to be known that that's the case. And the demon-possessed are very much sex offenders. All right, they practice sex rituals. They rely on sexual activity. Satan has people thinking. They engage in what is sexual activity in order to garner spiritual authority. They are very much obsessed with my vagina. The entity is very much engaged in what is this idolatry surrounding genitalia. This is the reason behind demonic things, spiritually significant things like molesting children. All right, innocent beings, engaging in what is spiritually significant and raping people. That's spiritually significant, and it's demonic. That is coming from a spirit of Satan. In case you did not know, you're told other things. Oh, people engage in that because they want power. So I'm not going to disagree with that, but I want to let you know it's spiritually significant. They're disregarding the source, and it is the spirit of Satan that causes one to violate you in that sexual manner. By the way, it's spiritually significant. And obsession with my vagina is based on the same demons who are gang stalking. It's a spirit that is stalking through a people. It's a spirit that is sexually obsessed with my genitalia. And it is relevant to what Satanists, to what Satan himself, to what demon-possessed people who are perverts, and they don't want you to know about that, but this is the reality. And I'm just letting you know, this is just greater context about what they're doing when they're engaged in bathroom monitoring. Yep. Just so that you know that. But anyway, the entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct, companies are going to be exposed as the persons that they are sex offenders. Companies are going to be exposed as the persons that they are terrorists, domestic terrorists, and hostile to the rights of American citizens. In the United States, Starbucks is engaged in monitoring American citizens. And this person, me, Erica Spencer, that told you about it, I also documented how hostile Starbucks is in the United States of America to your constitutional rights. All right? And that's relevant to the gang stalking employees and the gang stalking establishments. All right. And that's just born of you supporting demonic companies like Starbucks. Even their logo is satanic, in case you did not know that. But anyway, it's currently 6:31 a.m. The documentation, what I captured today, is always corroborating the greater picture. And the employees of Starbucks that committed kidnapping on July 4th, they're going to federal prison. And so is Tracy Banks. She's going to federal prison. Jason Isaac Fields going to federal prison. And these two, again, they are pretty much leading the pack regarding defaming my character, regarding defaming my character in courts that are targeting me. Targeting me is identified by the gang stalking courts that are, number one, as I've proven, in the specific environment. Fake sun over my head, it's not the natural environment. That court is gang stalking. But you're also recognizing targeting through their unlawful conduct. It's not a coincidence that I'm combating targeting on the streets day and night in my life, in my professional life, in my personal life. And the entity is concerning having a whole secret controversy but regarding property that the government never told me about. And this is relevant to why the government is targeting in the first place. While you have a bunch of stalkers that are being falsely depicted as a law enforcement, being confused with law enforcement, and stalking and doing ridiculous and embarrassing things like stalking in a parking garage that's filled with engineer light. You already know that there's stalkers. It's ridiculous. This is why. And that's identifying a court that's engaged in the same surveillance system concerning property that was never told to me. I was never told about it. While they are engaging in things like a secret conservatorship, what courthouse permitted that to happen? That's gang stalking by a courthouse, targeting by a courthouse. That's public corruption. These are the fruits of that. This is how you're identifying it. It's not just, you're not looking at that in a vacuum. That's not just a misstep. That's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. That's the entity that is targeting, gang stalking. All right, and that's getting to the motive. The demon-possessed people, Satan, worships money. I literally mean worship, like they pray and worship things, including money, and will do anything for it, including gang stalking. All right, so that's relevant context as well. The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct, currently 6:33 a.m. I'm going to show you the fake sun that's not at Woodside Senior Apartments, to be in a position where it's reflecting off of the apartment buildings of units 48 through 64. None of those. It's not a position. It's not adjacent to the DePore Professional Building, like I documented. It's not out through my living room window in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, over the hillside, which is what is happening at this time of year when I'm documenting the entity gang stalking me in Los Angeles. And in the natural environment, 365 days later, same time of year analysis, the environment is going to be substantially the same, okay? You're talking about in the natural environment. You're going to prosecute the demon-possessed for the unintelligent system that they maintain, which is very obvious because it is totally inconsistent with the natural environment. And that's where you're looking at the demon-possessed who are worshiping the person that they're targeting. This is why the sun and the moon are over me all day and all night. And this is why they're engaging in the sex offense of molesting with engineer light. They're keeping you under surveillance, and they're stalking as an entity in doing so. They're stalking in an unprecedented manner, and so are the courts. So are the sheriff's departments. All right, and that has been my position from the beginning. And the P.O.C., which is a complete body of evidence already, is proving that. It's establishing that every allegation is already supported in evidence. And it is relevant to what is a federal RICO case, a serious one, an unprecedented one, with regard to every business, everybody maintaining a business in California is engaged in this system of federal stalking. That's a federal RICO case, a massive one. And I have the evidence to support it more than just one or two businesses. You name the business, I've already documented it, more than likely, and more than one venue. For example, Starbucks in Montclair, Starbucks in Ontario. There's 3 in Ontario. The one on Vineyard, the one on Hope Boulevard, and the one on Euclid Avenue. The Starbucks in Los Angeles, Starbucks in Pomona, rather, Starbucks in Pasadena. And I'm showing you the pattern of conduct. And it is a supernatural pattern of conduct. Okay, you're talking about the engineered light, stalking with engineered light, and the entity inside of Carl's Jr., inside of KFC, inside of the Coin Laundry, the laundry room. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct, and it is identical. And it's also impossible to ever naturally occur. It's also speaking to an entity that is not a stranger to the target individual. They know exactly who you are. And they, by the way, are demons. And they are stalking you in a demonic environment. And they are also keeping my evidence against them under surveillance. And they are going to federal prison every time they committed kidnapping in doing so, trying to obstruct justice. It's 6:35 a.m. It is July 15, 2025. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 6:36 a.m. It's Tuesday, July 15, 2025, and this is the Ovid Family Community Library at 215 East C Street. And what you're looking at here is not disconnected from the environment that surrounds. This is a means of policing, just like they do in front of the bathroom, as I'm documenting inside of the venue where the fake sun is sitting over the building itself. This is policing the entrance with regard to gang stalking, making sure that they're manning the path. This is relevant to the fake sun that you see at what is 6:37 a.m. at the Ovid Family Community Library. The entity is maintaining the light source at this library as late as 6 p.m. where it is right here over the entrance of the, over the face of the parking garage. And it's over the parking garage as I'm documenting inside of this parking garage just on Saturday where the Ontario Montclair School District during the 7 a.m. hour is gang stalking. The entity is engaged in a pattern of conduct, keeping this fake sun. Let me zoom in so you can see it. This fake sun is at a location where it is remaining present, and that's the significance of it, because driving in engineered light, that's not sunlight, that's how you're monitoring. And that's monitoring is pursuant to stalking. And monitoring is committed by demon-possessed people who know what you're physically doing with your body. They know what you're doing on your devices as well. And they are stalking as a population in an environment that is entirely absurd. This is the fake sun that's at this same Ovid Family Community Library where you're looking at gang stalking at a facility of the City of Ontario, where I am present at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, where I am present at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the evening, and under no circumstances would 12 hours later the sun still be at the same address, because that's exactly what it is when it's over the building. It's not in Las Vegas, Nevada when you're looking at it and I'm standing at the Ovid Family Community Library. In the same way, it's not in Los Angeles, California, which, by the way, the sun is not rising in Ontario and setting in Los Angeles. The entity is engaged in what is entirely ridiculous conduct as I've surrounded them with a body of evidence of stalking. Light activity, crossing a path, and ongoing audible activity, including, as I narrate, gang stalking. Also, sex offenders monitoring my vagina inside of the Ovid Family Community Library. There are also terrorists that engage in molesting me with engineer light while I sit on the side of the Ovid Family Community Library, and they know exactly who I am, the evidence being that which is not the sun. They're doing this on behalf of the Ontario Police Department that engaged in attempted kidnapping this morning. You're engaging in surveillance and stalking, and the entity is engaging in that at facilitating venues, not private properties, and they are engaging in what is obstruction of justice. So the entity is maintaining at what is 6 in the morning. It's currently 6:39 a.m. And the fake sun is still here where the Ontario Police are gang stalking at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At 6:26 in the evening, where the entity is gang stalking and doing so at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the same position where these gang stalkers are right now under the fake sun, okay? Because the sun is not going to be at one address, and that's at one address when I'm looking at it over the building. I'm looking at the same building. The sun is not maintaining presence all over the country while it spans from here to Euclid Avenue there from the beginning to the end of the day. This is the unintelligent system of the gang stalkers, and I want to be clear, demons, it does not matter what their race is, what language they speak, what place of national origin, what uniform that they're wearing, how many babies they're wearing, or they're strapped to their person. They're engaged in the same exact identical elements of monitoring, and they're doing so in an irreconcilable environment, in an entirely malicious manner. And the entity is engaged in an unlawful threat to your life in doing so. This is the Ontario Town Square, where they're walking in engineered light and they're monitoring. They're doing so pursuant to what is a pattern of conduct, and this is speaking to not strangers, but this is an entity that knows exactly who you are when you are a targeted individual. Targeted individual status is deduced from the unnatural environment that I have been documenting. And this is also speaking to what is not in Florida, which is 3 hours ahead of us. It's never in Florida because the Ovid Family Community Library has the sunrise and the sunset over it. And that's the prosecution of those kidnappers that engaged in obstruction with the Ontario Police Department, that engaged in a kidnapping attempt pursuant to fictitious exercise of authority under the law when you're engaged in surveillance. All right, this fake sun that's here now at 6:40 is not the sun that's over the window of the staircase inside of this same building at 10 o'clock until 3 p.m. in the afternoon. This is the absurdity, and this is why you document, because the entity has no legitimate argument under the law. Then you're recognizing what is a special needs population, that when they're exposed, all they do is just engage in more and more criminal conduct. That's speaking to the maniacal, unhinged psychopaths that they were at the outset. All I've done, oh, dang it. Yeah, we're done. Okay. Oh, my video ran out. I'm going to continue speaking though. All I've done is captured the video evidence, captured the evidence in order to prove what it is that I stated, because you don't prosecute in court based on what you intuitively know, based on what you can spiritually discern. You prosecute based on hard facts and evidence, tangible evidence. This is the, I'm going from video back into podcast, but you were listening to me record video right now. I ran out of storage space, but I captured the point of it. The fake sun is over the Ovid Family Community Library at 215 East C Street at 6:30 in the morning. Let me actually capture what's the specific time. It is captured at 6:36 a.m. in the morning. The entity is keeping the fake sun at 6:33 a.m. at Woodside Senior Apartments. It's while it is in alignment to me at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. This is again on Euclid Avenue. What is what is south of the Ovid Family, south of Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Or north of the Ovid Family Community Library. Those are two different ecological addresses, if you will. The sun is not maintaining this ongoing identical presence along all up and down Euclid Avenue. Every address is having the same vantage point of the sun. So the sun is also simultaneously in alignment on the couch of Starbucks that I documented when I was already there at this time. And I'm capturing Corey Watson and the demon gang stalking me at the Cedar Point Medical Chiropractic Center yesterday morning. That's not the same location. Okay, she's gang stalking with Corey Watson at Starbucks under that fake sun at 6:30 something in the morning, and the entity is keeping the fake sun over the Ovid Family Community Library, and the two are not the same. And by the way, science is on my side. You can literally look at a map. We can do this together. The entity is already surrounded with evidence of stalking in an unprecedented manner, in a way that they never thought was ever going to be proven. And guess what? It's proven. Okay? And it's been proven, by the way. So this is giving context to every single time they put handcuffs on me and I was documenting. To every single time they engage in, and you're looking at that fake sun over their heads. You're looking at that engineered light while they're talking about law that they don't have authority under, while they're violent sex offenders keeping even my genitalia under surveillance, and they're talking about they're arresting me for a crime that I did not commit. Like interfering with an ongoing investigation. When you're engaged in criminal summoning with the people of the state, and the people of the state drove off already. You're not engaged in any investigation, nor was I ever interfering with it when I'm standing behind you on public property, the sidewalk, and taking a picture of your license plate. That's what Jason Knighton engaged in, okay, in January 2020. He's going to federal prison. You also see him under the fake sun at the Ontario Police Department, gang stalking inside of that police station. He's going to federal prison, and so is Lester Keys. There's no statute of limitations. The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct while they are already surrounded with evidence. What do the demons do? Only thing that they know how to do, because the system was designed that you are subject to surveillance, and the highest form of a threat that they have at their disposal is the police that are supposed to silence you. They're supposed to kidnap you. They're supposed to be the ones that come in and save the day. With regard to documentation, saving the day is stopping me from documenting. That's what saving the day is when you're engaged in the corrupt pattern of conduct. Everybody that engaged in that is going to federal prison. Okay, so the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. and is doing so with knowledge of the fact the entity engaged in kidnapping, in other words, at Economy Inn, 2301 South Euclid Avenue. There has not been one location where the entity is keeping the fake sun in any location remotely close, including now, over the pool at the Economy Inn on Euclid Avenue at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. The entity is engaged in what is consistently inconsistent evidence of stalking in an environment, which is what the demon-possessed do. The demon-possessed Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. Okay, for again engaging in what is exercising fictitious authority, which is exactly what a maniacal and unhinged psychopaths will do when they are corrupt and accustomed to getting away with abuse of power, and they have yet to be approached with by the federal government. The federal government, which I I have already proven the case, and this is, again, I'm getting to incompetence, okay? An American citizen should not be approached with this. This is not occurring with the ignorance of the federal government. These lower-level demons that were not able to contain me because they're lower-level demons that don't have any spiritual authority, okay? And there are a bunch of demons that are sitting around, pacing around my vagina. Yeah, I'm going to embarrass them, and I'm going to prosecute them, and that's already done. The federal government is also incompetent. An American citizen should not be subject to this. Under any circumstances, the federal government, the U.S. government's pattern of conduct is hereby exposed, because this is what's happening in Florida, because it could not possibly be the natural environment. When I'm showing you the fake sun remaining over the Ovid Family Community Library from sunrise until sunset. The entity is engaging in the P.O.C. How can I help you?
How are you?
How can I help you?
I'm a case manager with the city. We're here to...
Why are you talking to me?
We're trying to get you some help.
How do you know that I need help? I'm on the phone.
I'm just asking. If
You were interrupting my phone conversation. That was very rude.
I apologize. You want to finish your conversation so we can talk?
Oh, of course you don't know what I'm talking about. This is the Ontario Police Department. Hi. How can I help? Oh, we're all smiley today.
We're just trying to get you some help. So
we
we're
just have a few
what kind of help?
I don't need today, so we're trying to get.
Oh, okay. You said help. I was like, I'm perfectly fine. But hotel vouchers?
Yeah, we're part of the street outreach team.
So if you need it, we want to not miss you, and we only have a few. So
What hotel around here?
It's the
He looks
Economy
familiar.
Inn.
Economy?
Yeah.
Economy Inn. That's so funny. I was just referring to that. But,
yeah, if you need a few minutes, we could come back to you and hold one for you.
How long is the voucher for? How long? One night?
We're gonna start with 7 days, and as long as you allow Kevin to check on you daily, then we possibly could extend it from there.
So
The goal is we have 211 here. The goal is to get you fully into the 211 connected to services.
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with 211. Because
Yes.
you guys, typically the reason why research is unavailable for someone like myself is because it's always requiring some sort of, keep my hood up, some sort of connection with behavioral health. When you don't have mental health conditions, that's a
and that's up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
all
211 is fine.
we're doing is we need to verify homelessness.
Yeah.
So they know you. So
Yeah.
we can verify that for you.
Okay.
And if you're open, we'll save one spot for you, and then we'll come back and check on you and let you finish your conversation. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I'm done with my conversation now. It's fine.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. I will stay. All right, I read it. It's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let me get that signed, okay?
Eric, I had a question. I'm able to take you to the hotel. Do you want transportation to the hotel, or?
I would appreciate it. Yeah.
That way you don't have to walk, you know?
Yeah. Or things of that nature.
Perfect. Let me get this filled out, Erica. And then...
I like your nails.
Oh, thank you.
I usually don't like the different colors, but you have like the tone. That's cute. I like how you do that. That's
Thank
cute.
you. What is your last name?
Spencer.
Spencer. Okay.
Put your initials right here. And then signature is blank right there. Dated. Today is 7/15.
Wow.
You're good. 7/15/2025. Perfect. Sign it.
I don't think I've introduced myself. My name is Marilyn. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
She's,
you. I met you before.
You met her before?
Yeah.
Oh,
Twice
yes,
before.
At the bandstand.
You guys gave me, at the bandstand, and
You
then
have
I think
a
I met
really
you.
good memory.
I do.
You really
And I don't
do.
forget faces.
I
That's
know.
the thing. It's
You've
like
never
a
met me
visual
before, huh?
thing. I don't remember your face, so
I've never
no,
met
I would
you.
say
I
no.
know for a fact I've never met you.
But yeah, and then I talked to you and the other ladies, I think like maybe a week ago,
Oh,
2
okay.
days ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a very friendly face. That's how I remember your
Oh,
face.
okay. I'm glad. And if I see you in the mornings, I say good morning. Feel free to say good morning, but if not, that's okay. I will not take it personal.
Oh no, I'm never in a bad mood. I don't.
No, okay, yeah, me either. I know sometimes people hear like Carlos is waking up and stuff, so I won't.
Oh,
Sorry.
You call him Carlos? I call him Robert. Who are you talking about?
Oh, Robert's the one sitting on the right? And Carlos the one
Oh,
sitting down?
Carlos is. Oh, yeah, he does go by Carlos. Not bad.
What's your date of birth, America?
11/14/83.
Phone number again, 909
402.
402
You're asking me, I don't know. Hold on. 402. Sorry. Where's the contacts at? Oh, here it is. It's the wrong one. Sorry. 402-0536.
And your email?
That would be, it's as refined gold. So AS_refined_gold@yahoo.com.
Do you have an ID with you or no?
Yes.
Can I see really quick? And then you only receive EBT, right?
Correct. You want me to take it out for you?
No, I can, actually, yeah. Can you? Yeah. And then, what race would you identify as?
I'm African American. Put black. It's fine.
Hispanic or not Hispanic?
Not Hispanic.
Non-Hispanic.
I guess you have to ask those questions.
I
huh?
really do
We
nowadays.
do. Yeah, unfortunately.
That's true. You know, I consider myself non-white. Okay, where's that box at?
That
Okay.
is a good box. That's
I don't have that box on here.
a box
Right.
on paper.
That's how they are, though. Like I'm not black. I'm non-white. Goodness. Wow.
I really like that.
That's funny.
All right, now I'm just filling out the paperwork for the hotel, and we should be good, okay? So either myself and Simba will come and just check in with you daily, okay? That's all.
Do you guys like around checkout time, like 11, 10 in the morning, or are you coming early in the morning?
Well, to be honest, I don't want to give you a specific time because I don't know that just yet, but it'll be throughout the day.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and initial 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you want to read them,
Yep,
that way you
I'm
understand. Cool. It's basically just
Yeah.
rules and
Okay. Should I remain after the expiration? I understand I'll be responsible. Yes. I understand I'll be sending you based on the house association at the person. Okay. Basically, you're not prompting me to keep full listening. Thank you.
second page.
Right to verify occupancy, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to do that. All right, play the reading until. Yeah, I'm going to do this back. No more than 2 persons to go along
And then just your signature right there. Perfect. We're all good. Let me go check up on the transportation, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. At the same time.
Alrighty. Oh, no, no. All right, you're listening to Audible Activity. The Ontario Police are in relevant position. They are aiding, this is the same city of Ontario, engaging in monitoring while simultaneously providing a voucher for a hotel. They are still monitoring me. So, same P.O.C. Yes.
looks like you might have to hang tight a little bit, because we have to go talk to the people as well. But the motel's secured for you.
Okay.
So I just confirmed that right now.
Okay.
They will be transporting you. Just might maybe like a couple, maybe 30 minutes, an hour maybe.
Oh, that's fine.
So
I'll
if you just
be
want to
there.
hang out tight, enjoy the nice sunrise. But yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just try to stay in this area so that we can kind of find you, okay?
Got it.
Yeah. And then you might need to fill out an ROI with Simba.
What's an ROI?
It's a release of information.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Okay.
With them. Okay?
Got it.
All right. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you. Alrighty, this is the Ontario Police Department, standing in relevant position at the Ontario Town Square, and their partners are gang stalking me at the same Ontario Town Square at 6 in the evening, 4 in the afternoon, 1 in the afternoon. This is the Ontario Town Square at where they are monitoring and simultaneously providing a voucher to a hotel where they have engaged in kidnapping me upon gang stalking me while I remain in that hotel. Alright, so while the monitoring in real time, okay? So coming around, having smiles on their faces, providing a voucher. This is the kind of conduct that really is engagement in what's supposed to be a less threatening method. I am advocating on behalf of everyone who is not less threatening to us. It is not less threatening than what important events in our life are. Have to smile on them, all right? Oh, you want that? They are monitoring in real time and doing so while I am being provided a voucher by this entity that is still engaged in the pattern. So where the is engaging in stalking the false light while they're here with the city of Ontario that is very much engaged in what is handling the cost of the hotel. Okay, the city of Ontario that's gang stalking me is going to be paying for my hotel. That's what this is. All right, it is the same POC. Right, it's currently they're monitoring and threatening engagement terrorism across the light while they interview the environmental issues. This is the kind of under the Ontario Town Square at 7:21 a.m. P.O.C. Across the path. Monitoring what and this is the same entity that engaged in kidnapping this time. Not less threatening. And it's the same kind of time. That's crossing the path. Flying over. This is ongoing maintenance of audible activity. None of this is sunlight. This is all engineer light, okay? But I just want to document this. And for my own documentation purposes, but also I would advise any person who is charged by the government documentation not only the prosecute but it's for your own safety. So that there's no brief or ad the last time you All right, if you're listening, I'm still recording here, or am I not? I am still recording. All right, I just want to make sure I'm capturing video, and the Ontario Police Department it's the same department that's monitoring while they are providing me what is a hotel voucher. So in case you can't hear me because the entity is monitoring with this leaf blower, what I'm reciting in the video, which will be published to the YouTube channel, I remain subject to the same exact pattern of conduct while they come and interfere with my documentation, which I find funny. They're referring to Economy Inn, which is the venue that's not a coincidence while I'm referring to that venue. And the entity is providing a voucher for me to stay at that hotel where I've documented where the entity has already committed a kidnapping. Just want to be clear, legally analyzing, that's a threat. I'm going to a venue where I've already been kidnapped, where the entity has been already documented engaging in the pattern of conduct. The entity is paying for the voucher. This is the circumstances. This is what I'm exposed to while I am subject to this pattern of conduct, and I'm also documenting it in order to prosecute it.
But legally speaking, this is the stalker that's engaged in what economy in. Understand how you're documenting and understanding the pattern of conduct. Economy in is a stalker, a gang stalker. The venue itself, because the entity kept the fake sun rising and setting at economy in, and that's already on the record. It's already published, and that is a threat. And under the circumstances, I mean, I'm documenting the pattern of conduct. Tracy Banks being around my own mother is a threat to me, and I'm exposed to that threat because I have to document it, and I have to be around them stalking me in order for me to document that. It is not speaking to or demonstrating that she is not a threat because I'm in her presence and I conduct myself in a composed manner, and I'm getting a psychopath that wants to be me and has conspired my death and theft of my property while gang stalking me as my mother. That's not evidence that she's not a threat. It's evidence of me prosecuting a psychopath, and while she's doing it maliciously, I am engaging in what is documenting her simultaneously, okay? So that's what that evidence of is. I am exposed to an unlawful threat going to a venue where this entity kidnapped me, and they are engaged in gang stalking me and even providing the voucher to me to go to this venue where I will remain subject to the same exact pattern of conduct. I want to make sure that that's all understood. And I also think that it's literally comical that they're talking about going to economy in, and I just referenced that venue. This is what the entity does, though. I think it's funny. But they're literally monitoring while they're providing the resources of a hotel room. And this is my gang stalker that's going to be paying for my hotel room. All right, so that's what's happening. It is currently 7:24 a.m. I'm at the Ontario Town Square. This is American Medical Response engaged in criminal summoning. American Medical Response is specifically monitoring me. Okay, gang stalking. That's the government that's using a whole ambulance to stalk an American citizen, as you put it, in the truthful terms about what is embarrassing to the government and all the ways in which the demon-possessed are engaging in surveillance, doing things like stalking in an ambulance. AMR is crossing path, driving on Euclid Avenue in the direction north. You'll see that in the images that I'm capturing. It's 7:47 a.m. They're using their lights and their sirens, which is light activity, relevant positioning, and audible activity while the fake sun is over me at the Ontario Town Square. It is P.O.C, and they're doing so pursuant to monitoring me. Specifically, as I'm referring to the fact that they are lower beings. These demons are lower beings. With regard to spiritual authority, with regard to spiritual power, they're lower beings. And that's just inherent to walking with Christ in an actual relationship with Him, being an actual child of God, being filled with the Holy Spirit, and having spiritual authority. They are lower beings, and as the moment that I am referring to this, these demons that are monitoring immediately sound sirens. It's criminal summoning. It's P.O.C. at 224 North Euclid Avenue. That's the gang stalker American Medical Response. All right, it is 12 p.m. at Economy Inn, 2301 South Euclid Avenue. And the entity is having a field day. Stalking by commercial planes flying over my room. The entity placed me in the specific room at the venue for purposes of gang stalking, for the most intrusive means and the most convenient and also perverted means of monitoring, in order to expose me to as many demons as possible, to keep me under surveillance in the room at the venue. The fake sun is directly over the top of my head. You can see the fake sun reflecting off of the windshield of the vehicle parked on the ground that I'm standing in front of on the second floor. And UPS in particular hovering, flying in what is the direction south and making what is to veer to fly in the direction east, just having a field day, plane after plane flying over my room. And so I did step out, and at 12 p.m. UPS is the particular third-party gang stalking company engaging in what is terrorism. This is the Ontario International Airport that's not engaged in any flight destinations, just engaging in what is routine stalking using commercial planes right over my room, where the fake sun is positioned over me at my room at what is 2301 South Euclid Avenue, where the sun is now remaining at this end of where the 60 freeway is. Okay, so the entity had the fake sun remaining at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. remaining, as I document, remaining at Woodside Senior Apartments. This is the pattern of conduct from sunrise until sunset at Tracy Banks' apartment, Unit 51, and the documentation is already sitting on the record. And it is irreconcilable with what the entity is doing now. And again, this is the venue where the entity has also committed kidnapping already, and I've already documented sunrise to sunset, fake sun maintenance with regard to surveillance, and the entity is engaging in that same exact pattern of conduct. And this is criminal monitoring that the city of Ontario paid for the room in order to keep me under surveillance inside of the room, which is a private space, and a sex offense committed by the people of the state. Okay, mobile is gang stalking. The demons are filling up their gas tanks, pacing around at the gas station, doing so while they're on the 60 freeway. This is a massive sex offense, very perverted when you're understanding what the entity is engaging in while they're keeping a woman under surveillance in a hotel room. And it's when you're looking at all the people, when you're looking at all the traffic, and they are all together, demons as well, and they're all together engaging in what is gang stalking me as one. It's very perverted when you're aware of what the entity is doing, and you're aware of it because the sun is directly over the top of my head, and I'm specifically documenting UPS in particular, but the entity, UPS is just engaging in, it's just that particular logo because the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking me. And planes are continuously flying over my room, which has been the case since I arrived at around 10:30 a.m. So I want to document that, and it's a white plane, white commercial plane with a brown body. There's brown coverage in the center of the body. That was UPS. That was just having a field day, just dipping over and flying what is south. Flying over and then veering to continue flying east. They're not taking off from the airport and maintaining any flights. That is clearly just targeting where I'm located, and that is also proven to the specific environment. And you'll see the specific environment inside of my hotel room. And the entity is engaging in what is just maintaining flights over me. This is, I want to be clear, just maintaining this ongoing stalking conduct is nothing but harassment. Just flying plane after plane after plane over my room and engaging in what is amplification of plane activity in my room, and doing so with regard to just an ongoing incessant desire to stalk me using commercial planes to keep me under surveillance. And this is relevant to what I documented overnight. The demon possessed are obsessed with me, and they want to be where I'm at. And the fact that they use commercial planes, that's like the most expensive, most extreme and outrageous. It's also harassing and terrorizing. It's also, the pattern of conduct is also sexually perverted. But it is going back to a basic obsession with me, wanting to be where I am at, and going to the extreme to fly planes to stalk me is just speaking to how important I am to the demon possessed. That's not a compliment when they're engaged in gang stalking with the intent to steal from me, trying to criminally defame me, repeatedly kidnapping. But these are the demons who are engaged in criminal conduct while their obsession is what is the root issue. Okay, this is stalking. The demon that wants to be next to me while I'm sleeping, while I'm showing you overnight. The Ontario International Airport was gang stalking by planes over 325 West G Street. This is a broad range of this plane activity where they're supposed to be taking off from 2500 Airport Drive. This is already established. I've already shown this, and there's nothing. The Ontario, like I said, the entity has no intention. They are very sloppy. They are openly engaging in stalking me and doing so in the ways in which I've already proven. And the entity is clearly just stalking, just openly stalking, and no longer trying to secretly engage in gang stalking somebody. The purpose of that is because the entity would like to falsely depict your character and say that you're paranoid or that you're imagining things. When the entity is engaged in this level of sloppiness, and this is, again, I've already proven the case, so yeah, but at the same time, the sloppiness with regard to the open engagement of what is obvious criminal conduct, targeting, while I'm documenting that, this is the entity that has given up even trying to act like they're not obsessed, act like they're not stalking, act like they're not sex offenders, consumed with everything concerning me, including my genitalia, including while I'm in a hotel room, okay? And they literally purchased a hotel room just to keep me under surveillance. Why? Because I'm literally bullying them with documentation while they're keeping the fake son from the TABOR professional building to the Ovid Family Community Library, okay? Less than a half a mile. It's where the entity is engaging in a sunrise and a sunset. And by the way, I documented all of this already before 2025. The prosecution of the state of California is already complete. I want to document UPS is engaged in gang stalking, a dip very low, hovering over my head while I'm on the second floor of this hotel. And you'll see me taking images. I go back into my room to get my phone to show you the proof of what it is that I'm claiming. I've already documented gang stalking me by planes, but you will understand the fact that I am testifying to what is in conformity to what I've already documented. UPS is indeed, and the Ontario International Airport is indeed gang stalking me, which is letting you know everybody at this hotel is gang stalking me. The people of the state on the 60, you're understanding you are looking at what is very perverted. Very perverted, keeping a woman under surveillance, and doing so because they would rather me be in a hotel engaging in this sex offense rather than me be at the Ovid Family Community Library. And you look at men with babies strapped to their chest while they're engaging in a sex offense, rather than you looking at images of males sitting outside of the women's restroom and you being reminded of the fact that they're engaging in a sex offense. They'd rather commit that sex offense while I'm in a hotel room. It's the same pattern of conduct, and the pattern of conduct is underway at every other venue that I've already documented, and it is underway throughout the state of California. And the entity is doing so by UPS, flying directly over the top of my head and hovering down, just like having a field day, literally just doing dips and tricks, flying over my room and amplifying plane activity, and you will see the fake sun over the top of my head. It's currently 12:18 p.m. The hotel employees, just as was the case in 2020 and 2021, where this entity engaged in kidnapping, the hotel employees, the managers are gang stalking as well, and that is also documented. He's monitoring while he moves his vehicle in the parking lot. It's a white Civic, I believe, but nonetheless it's a white Honda, and he gets out. He's the one that checked me into my hotel room. Economy Inn, this is relevant to the federal RICO case, is gang stalking me. The establishment itself is gang stalking, and the people of the state are gang stalking as an entity. This is thousands and thousands of people keeping one person, me, under surveillance. All right? This is P.O.C. It's 12:19 p.m. at 2301 South Euclid Avenue.
Alrighty, it is currently 12:52 p.m. This is relevant to the documentation captured on July 4th, 2025, where I'm located at 9500 Etiwanda Avenue in Rancho Cucamonga, California, and that is a documentation of the state facilitating venue. And a state facilitating venue is a term of art, meaning it's a location, it's an address where criminal monitoring is underway. And so this is documentation of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department that is gang stalking me, proven through the maintenance of a light source, which is not the sun, as my documentation in totality shows. What its presence in this environment is speaking to knowledge regarding targeting and its criminal monitoring. And I am not at 9500 Etiwanda Avenue. I'm located at what is 2301 South Euclid Avenue at the same time that I was on July 4, 2025, after the entity engaged in kidnapping from 507 North Euclid Avenue, Starbucks, that's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and the evidence also documenting that, as well as the population, the pattern of conduct, the behavioral pattern of the people of the state who are in the specific environment, showing what is an inevitable prosecution and the established implied conspiracy amongst the government and the people of the state who are in the shoes of the government, gang stalking American citizens, targeting them. All right, I'm at Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, which is not next door, adjacent to, down the street from, around the corner from, not sharing any sky space, not creating the immediacy of my shadow on the ground. The entity is engaged in what is gang stalking me inside of a hotel room, which is relevant to what is a private space. And this is a massive sex offense. Each person is monitoring me while you see them. They're engaged in monitoring me while they're intentionally doing so as a population aware of who I am. This is the proof of knowledge, the fake sun, and aware of what I am doing as I'm doing it. And that's relevant to the perversion of federal group stalking and monitoring. At 12:51 p.m. at 9500 Etiwanda Avenue, the sun is not going to be over 2301 South Euclid Avenue, and it certainly will not be over the top of my head. And by the way, this is the first day that I have returned to Economy Inn, where the entity is now placing the sun, and it's not over the Ovid Family Community Library. Okay, that's relevant to any and everything that is happening, every means of light activity, all the acts of criminal summoning. They're not emergencies. It's everything that this entire population is doing with regard to monitoring me, including Enterprise 706-95. A4, I believe, gang stalking, using the vehicle, getting on the side of the road, stalking in the path, and this is federal stalking. The entity is engaging what it's monitoring, including my genitalia, and that's relevant with regard to the P.O.C. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct while it is also keeping the evidence of its criminal system against a woman, against an American citizen, in the United States. I'm not in a third world country. I'm in the United States of America. I'm in California. We're in many ways leading the culture in this country, and unfortunately the culture is leading in what is unconstitutional and as well as demonic and corrupt.
And this is government action, and this is not a private property. This is where surveillance is underway, and anybody and everything is serving for that criminal system. And you're looking at the fake sun that's moving as I move. It's no longer along Euclid Avenue. This is demonic. And it's the direct evidence that the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is a kidnapper and not engaged in law enforcement either. And they are sharing and targeting with the Ontario Police Department and the people of the state. The entities engaging in this P.O.C., and you're looking at that. This is Impossible Light. While the people of the state are stalking in hotel rooms. The people of the state are stalking on a freeway. The people of the state are stalking at a gas station. The people of the state are stalking as they're managing the hotel. All right, and this is where the entity has already committed a kidnapping. And this is where I've documented the sunrise at 7 a.m. over this pool. And this is where the entity is engaged when it's monitoring my genitalia inside of my hotel room. All right, this is an unprecedented sex offense, and the entity is doing so pursuant to an ongoing pattern of conduct. You're looking at what is entirely shaded, all right? No sunlight, and neither would that be any position where you have covering that creates shade, and you have light manifesting out of nothing, okay? This is indeed the pattern of conduct. This is not only the pattern of conduct, the evidence of criminal monitoring, the same pattern of conduct happening in venues such as Starbucks, okay? And every other venue that I've documented. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 12:56 p.m. This is speaking to a massive population that's keeping me under surveillance. This is an egregious violation of privacy, and it's a massive sex offense, referred to as the perpetual sex offense. This is pacing. Yeah, that's pacing. Walking and driving in, and the freeway, and the gas station, layers and layers, and then Euclid Avenue. They're all monitoring. These are demons that are engaging in this, and they're monitoring while they walk by my room. Look at what you're seeing here, because when they're walking by my room, they're monitoring me. All right, this is P.O.C. This is 231 South Euclid Avenue. And the City of Ontario engaged in what is federal group stalking monitoring, flying directly over me while I'm inside of this hotel room. This is P.O.C.